So for this class, we're going to be painting in a variety of formats. And we're going to be painting the subject, wildflowers, in the landscape. And that can be, in my case, it'll be Colorado wildflowers, but wildflowers exist everywhere. And we'll just pull up samples of the different types of wildflowers and use their color. But what I want to do is I want to change the formats, and I want to use the format as a tool for expressing the landscape. What I've got is a full sheet. This is 22 by 30. I've subdivided into 2 sheets by turning it on the midpoint of the 30-inch dimension, and it gives me 2 halves. And from these 2 halves then, I'm going to get the different formats. This then will be 15 by 22. To get a square format, I'm going to measure 15 inches on both sides, and I will subdivide this paper on that line. What I'll do is I'll just fold on that line. Very similar to what I did with the original tear. And then I'll weaken that seam. And then I'll tear. And that will create my 15 by 15 square format that I'll do the painting on. So that's one format we'll paint on. Another format that we'll paint on will be elongated either landscape or elongated portrait. And for that, I take the second sheet and I subdivide it by 2. Just fold it in half on top of itself, like this. And then I tear on that fold line. And that gives me this piece here, from which I can do either a portrait format, elongated portrait, or an elongated landscape. So there are 2 more formats. And of course, portrait and landscape are the other 2 formats of the 5. So I just subdivide 1/2 of that sheet. Tear on that seam, and that gives me my portrait format or my portrait format or my landscape format, and it then will be subdivided to 15 by roughly 11, I believe it is. Let's just check that real quick. Yeah, 15 by 11. And so those are the 5 formats: portrait, landscape, elongated portrait, elongated landscape, and square. And we'll use these in our paintings each week. So we'll do 4 different formats yet to be determined. But that's how I will achieve that. And to get that total, I would need 2 sheets of paper. 1 sheet to subdivide and get my square, and then my portrait and my landscape, and then another sheet of paper to get my elongated format. So 2 sheets of paper for the 4-week class. So that gives you some indication or some direction as to how we could accomplish this. Now, if you only want to use 1 piece of paper, you don't want to buy 2, this piece that's the remnant piece from the square could be used as your portrait, elongated portrait, or your elongated landscape piece, in which case you'd only need 1 sheet of paper to get the 5 different formats. So that's just a guide as to how I will be tearing up or separating my papers to create the different formats for our 4-week class.